This week we are beginning Jounreys Lesson 23. We are going to be reading a new story called Whistle for Willie. Before we begin reading our story for this week, I wanted to talk about our target skill. Our target skill for this week is cause and effect. Sometimes one story event causes another event to happen. The cause happens first. The effect is what happens next. As you read, ask yourself, what happens and why? You can use a chart to help you understand events. Our target strategy is monitor and clarify. If a part doesn't make sense, you can ask questions, reread, or use pictures for help. Our topic for our story is pets. A pet can be a good friend. A cat can cuddle. A dog can play with a ball. What kind of pets do you know about? Have you ever had a pet? Pets need care. They need to be fed. Some need to be walked. What pet would you like best? You will read about a boy and his pet dog in Whistle for Willie. Our story this week is called Whistle for Willie by Ezra Jack Keats. Our target skill for this story is cause and effect. Tell what happens and why. The genre of our story is realistic fiction. Realistic fiction is a story that could happen in real life. As you read, look for events that could really happen, and also characters who do things real people and animals do. Our essential question for our story is, how can you take good care of a pet? Oh, how Peter wished he could whistle. He saw a boy playing with his dog. Whenever the boy whistled, the dog ran straight to him. What happens when the boy whistles? When the boy whistles, the dog ran straight to him. This is a great example of our target strategy, cause and effect. The cause that happened first was the boy whistled. The effect was that the dog ran straight to him. Peter tried and tried to whistle, but he couldn't. So instead, he began to turn himself around. Around and around he whirled, faster and faster. When he stopped, everything turned down and up, and up, and down, and around, and around. The main character in our story is Peter. In many stories, the main character has a problem. What is Peter's problem? Peter cannot whistle. Since Peter cannot whistle, he instead began to turn himself around. In our story, it says, he turned himself around, around and around he whirled. Which word in the sentences help us understand what the word whirled means? It says around and around he whirled. We know that Peter began to turn. When it says around and around, we know that he is turning around in circles. Peter saw his dog Willie coming. Quick as a wink, he hid in an empty carton laying on the sidewalk. He hid in an empty carton lying on the sidewalk. Wouldn't it be funny if I whistled? Peter thought. Willie would stop and look all around to see who it was. Peter tried again to whistle, but he still couldn't. So Willie just walked on. We have a new character that has joined us. Our main character is Peter. Who is Willie? Willie is Peter's dog. He has a long brown body, short legs, and long ears. Why did Peter hide in the carton lying on the sidewalk? It tells us that Peter thought it would be funny if he whistled, and when Willie looked around, he wouldn't see anybody. Was Peter able to whistle? No, not yet. It says Peter tried again to whistle, but he still couldn't. So Willie just walked on. Peter got out of the carton and started home. On the way, he took some colored chalks out of his pocket and drew a long, long line right up to his door. He stood there and tried to whistle again. He blew till his cheeks were tired, but nothing happened. He went into his house and put on his father's old hat to make himself feel more grown up. He looked into the mirror and practiced whistling. He looked into the mirror to practice whistling. Still no whistle. When his mother saw what he was doing, Peter pretended that he was his father. He said, "I've come home early today, dear. Is Peter here?" His mother answered, "Why, no, he's outside with Willie." "Well, I'll go look for them," said Peter. First, he walked along a crack in the sidewalk. Then he tried to run away from his shadow. He jumped off his shadow. But when he landed, they were together again. Why can't Peter run away from his shadow? I'm sure that you've seen your own shadow before. And a person's shadow always follows him or her when the sun is shining. How could he get away from his shadow? Peter would have to get out of the sunlight to get away from his shadow. He came to the corner where the curtain was. And who should he see but Willie? What do you think Peter will try to do next? If you remember before, when Peter was at this spot, he hid inside of the curtain to scare Willie. Do you think he might do that again? Let's see what happens next. Peter scrambled under the curtain. He blew and blew. Suddenly, out came a real whistle. Willie stopped and looked around to see who it was. How was our main character Peter's problem solved? Peter's main problem was that he was not able to whistle, but now he is able to, so his problem is solved. Why did Willie stop to look around? Willie heard a whistle, but he doesn't know where it's coming from. "It's me!" Peter shouted and stood up. Willie raced straight to him. What happens when Peter comes out of the box? Willie the dog sees Peter and runs quickly to him. How do you think Peter feels during this part of the story? We know that Peter has been waiting to whistle and play this funny trick on Willie, his dog. We can say that Peter feels very happy and maybe even relieved that he can finally whistle. It also took him a lot of practice, so he could feel happy when he sees his dog Willie run towards him. Peter ran home to show his father and mother what he could do. They loved Peter's whistling. So did Willie. Peter's mother asked him and Willie to go on an errand to the grocery store. He whistled all the way there, and he whistled all the way home. The lesson that we could learn from this story is that you can learn to do new things if you really keep trying. Peter whistled all the way to the grocery store and all the way home. Peter knows if he keeps whistling and practicing, he will be able to keep whistling. That brings us to the end of our story, Whistle for Willie. Can you whistle? Now let's move on to our next activity. To end our reading lesson today, I am going to have you complete 2 activities in your reader's notebook. We are going to be completing pages 108 and 109. This morning in our morning meeting, we talked about the vowel sound O-O. This makes the oo sound like in the word book. B-book. Ooh. For the first page, page 108, I want you to look at the picture for each number and then circle the word that best matches the picture. For number 1, is this a picture of a book or a hook? Circle the word that best matches the picture for number 1. For number 2, is this a picture of a book or a cook? Circle the word that best matches the picture for number 2. For number 3, is this a picture of wool or wood? Circle the word that best matches the picture for number 3. For number 4, is this a picture of a hook or a hood? Pay attention in picture number 4 to what the girl is wearing. Does this picture represent the word hook or hood? For number 5, is this a picture of a brook or a took? Circle the word that best matches the picture for number 5. And for number 6, is this a picture of soot or a foot? Circle the word that best matches the picture for number 6. Once you have completed circling all of your answer choices for page 108, we will then begin working on page 109. If you need to pause the video to continue working on page 108, you can do so now. If you are ready to begin working on page 109, then let's get started. This morning during morning meeting, we got our new set of sight words. Our sight words are also called our words to know. For page 109, we are going to circle the word that best completes each sentence. We have 8 sentences and 2 word choices in each sentence. As I read through the sentence, I want you to look at the 2 words that are in the parentheses and circle the word that best completes the sentence. Let's begin. Sentence number 1 says, "We can go to the play blank." We can go to the play together. Boy. Circle the word that best completes the sentence for number 1. For number 2, the sentence says, "The box has blank in it." The box has began nothing in it. Circle the word that best completes the sentence for number 2. For number 3, the sentence says, "The new blank is named Dan." The new boy along is named Dan. Circle the word that best completes the sentence for number 3. For number 4, the sentence says, "Dan and his blank like to fish." Dan and his together father like to fish. Circle the word that completes the sentence for number 4. Number 5 says, "My blank has a blue door." My house nothing has a blue door. Circle the word that best completes the sentence for number 5. Sentence 6 says, "Jan skipped blank the path." Jan skipped house along the path. Circle the word that best completes the sentence for number 6. For number 7, the sentence says, "I will sing the song blank." I will sing the song again. Boy. Circle the word to complete the sentence on number 7. Our last sentence, sentence number 8 says, "A bell blank to ring." A bell house began to ring. If you have completed circling all of your answer choices for page 108 and 109, then you are all done with your reading lesson activity. We will be going over your answers and reading our decodable during our reading intervention times. Please be sure to have both of these pages done so that you are ready to check your answers. If you have any questions before then, please let me know, and I'll see you later.